right, race fans, Ryan Aho here, bringing you the modified division of the One to Go Show weekly recaps here. And we have no recaps quite yet. There hasn't been no WISSOTA modified racing yet. But what we're going to do on this show is we're going to talk about the series and track champions, national champions from 2022. And before we do that, I want to give a shout out here to the official streaming platform of the One to Go Show and WISSOTA Dirt Track Racing, of course, Dirt Race Central. Of course, Ben and John and all the staff there at Dirt Race Central, they do an unbelievable job. And if you're in the WISSOTA area, if you're a fan of WISSOTA racing, for sure, you have to subscribe, right? You can watch all the races live. Every race they do, and they do lots of races. They cover a lot of racing, and you can pay for them. You can watch them live. But if you're racing yourself and you want to catch something from the night before and you're already racing, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to get a monthly subscription. It's pretty darn economical compared to some of the other streaming platforms out there. And not only, right, do they have great content, Ben does a lot for the sport, gives a lot of money, puts a lot of money back to the racers. So huge shout out and thanks for partnering up with the One to Go Show, Dirt Race Central. So, well, let's talk about the track championships here. Not everybody races for a track title, right? Some want to just race for money, and that's okay. But I'm all about let's make track championships great again. You know who else is? Granite City Motor Park. I want to give them a quick shout out right now because James Trantina has put a lot of money on the line over there for drivers, especially if you're within an hour radius of the Granite City Motor Park in Sauk Rapids. Tell you what, you're going to want to get there, right? You're going to want to race there weekly. Why? Because they're paying big money. I think it's $2,500 to win the points. Not only that, they're making calls nonstop, and they have a pile of contingency awards, not just for the person that wins the track title, but for anybody that supports that place on a weekly basis. So super excited to see what they're doing. And I want to give a shout out here to all the drivers that won championships here in 2022 as we look forward to 2023. So let's start with the state of Minnesota, which there's way more WISSOTA modified racing in Minnesota than all the other states combined. So we'll start there. Well, let's go up to the home of the Chicken Shack up in Bemidji, Minnesota. Josh Bolio, he parked it right on top of the pedestal there for the track championship. 5 wins in Bemidji. Outstanding season for Josh Bolio. 7 wins on the year. Josh, you got company. It sounds like there is a pile more modified drivers are going to be racing weekly in Bemidji. So it's going to be super fun to see some great modified action from the Bemidji Speedway. I believe Dirt Race Central is going to have that action. And some of the best modified drivers in WISSOTA throughout the years have come from that place. So I'm super excited that modified racing is getting strong over there again. Let's head down to Western Minnesota, the Fiesta City Speedway in Montevideo and the Madison Speedway in Madison, Minnesota. The 6-star Brian Hobbin. I tell you what, this guy's got a lot of track championships over there. 3 wins at each of these tracks, 6 total on the year, and primarily races those tracks, maybe ventures to Viking, Fergus every once in a while. But that SSR 6-star is super fast at those 2 tracks, and he won multiple track championships there many, many times. So congratulations to Hobbin. In Grand Rapids Speedway, Broking, no, not Johnny Broking. His dad gave him a whooping last year. Bob Broking, the old veteran up there, another track championship for the 45. A pair of wins up there, 3 total on the year. I talked to Johnny. He said, did not quite have the year in Grand Rapids I was looking for. He goes, but Dad, I'll give a little confidence booster last year. But this year here, I'm going to prove a point that the next generation is just a little bit quicker. So it's going to be fun up there in Grand Rapids to see who comes out on top in that one. Granite City Motor Park, Sauk Rapids. How about Tony Prohl over there, the 27? He got no wins on the year, but he had his best finish was a 2nd on July 17th. Super excited about that one, and great to see Tony win a track championship. I know it was special to him, and hopefully he can contend for another one when there's more money on the line. So just a shout out, James Trantina. I mean, he won it last year. I mean, maybe just toss him that $2,500 just because he supported. Just saying, right? We'll see if maybe he'll do that. He might. You never know. So congrats to Tony Prohl. Now let's go up to the Greenbush Race Park up in Greenbush, Minnesota. Aaron Holton got it done. The 2 ride from Newfoundland up there. No wins on the year for him either. Another bridesmaid getting it done. He won by 4 points over Dustin Wall. So that's pretty cool. That's another tight battle up there that we can keep an eye on. It'll be kind of fun to see how that transpires. Aaron Blackland sounds like he's going to be racing weekly in the modified. That's going to be his focus. So he's going to mix into that. And it'll be interesting if the TPO races there weekly or maybe misses for a couple specials. But I talked to him and said, what are the plans? Said, got a little something new we're doing with the Ford engine deal here. We got something going on. So kind of distributor on the wrong end kind of guy there. If you're a Ford guy, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. He's going to run more specials. And he let me know Grand Forks, River City Speedway, going to run 8 modified races, 3 of them, of course, at the sites. But he said he's going to hit all of those. So a little bit more racing to be had for Holton and the 2. Now let's head to the Hibbing Raceway. This guy here, easily, and it ain't close, the winningest modified driver in northern Minnesota up in the Hibbing area up there. Kelly Esty been doing it for a long time. The 37, a pair of wins in Hibbing this year. I don't even know the last time he won a track championship because for years he never raced for one because if the money was on the line, he went to that. But Kelly Esty, one of the best to strap in, still doing it. I feel like a quitter because I felt like he was a little old when I was racing against him. And he ain't going to like me saying that, but he still gets it done. And another racing family up there that very, very talented group of people. Now, KRA Speedway over in Willmar, Minnesota. I used to love going to that place every Thursday. And Jonathan Olmscheid, the U.S. ride from Dassel, and he did get a win over at the KRA Speedway. And he ran earlier this year. I feel like it was, I don't know where it was. I saw it on streaming. He went somewhere and he broke something in the steering and ended up just not a good night for him. But I see him racing a little bit in the off season, which was pretty cool. But a track championship for him, that was super cool to see and see if he can get her done in 2023. Now, another driver here that won a pair of track championships over in western Minnesota at the I-94 EMR Speedway in Fergus Falls, the Viking Speedway, the big half mile there in Alexandria. How about it for the 2X Brady Gertis? This cat here, very talented, up on the wheel, fun to watch. Mostly races those 2 tracks. He did venture out just a little bit. He had 2 wins at Viking, no wins at Fergus. He did have 4 wins total on the year. But when you unload at either one of those 2 places, that 2X cart is going to be a contender each and every night. This year is not going to be any different. Ogilvie Raceway. This guy here, probably one of the most fun drivers to watch in Wissota Modified Racing. Clayton Wagaman in the 14W. Admittedly, I had a couple of okay runs at Ogilvie. I never got around that place great, right? But this guy here, if there's just a hint of something on the high side, he's letting her all hang out. And he is super fun to watch just bang the boards at Ogilvie. But Wagaman, 4 wins over at Ogilvie, 6 total on the year, including a big one in that XR Northern Storm Series. But Wagaman, I tell you what, extremely impressive at Ogilvie. If you have not watched races there, if you've never been there, jump on a Dirt Race Central, do yourself a favor, take in some of the action, and you'll be glad you did. Another driver here with a pair of track championships in 2022, another second generation ace. Talked to him today. In fact, Brandon Kopp, he's actually heading out to Fergus Falls, said he needs to open up strong, but he had 9 total wins on the year, 4 at Proctor, 3 in Ashland. Of course, his dad, the legendary Don Kopp, that guy won a pile of races and a lot of things. Brandon Kopp, no different, a technician. Very, very fun to watch behind the wheel of the 22 ride. And this year, I'm looking for him to be back in black and back in victory lane. Red Cedar Speedway, there is going to be a new champion this year at the Red Cedar Speedway because the 81 of Ashley Anderson making the jump to the late model division. I should say back to the late model division. I mean, he's already been in the late model division, won a lot of races, ran in a mod for several years now. This guy here might be one of the best drivers, just natural talents to strap into a Wissota race car, whether it's a super, a mod, a late, doesn't matter what it is. Ashley Anderson, extremely impressive. And I promise you this, if he's all in on the late model, you are going to hear about him. He is going to win races. Now, let's go to the Cedar Lake Speedway. Track rules deal, right? New Richmond, Wisconsin, Somerset, whatever you want to call it. But AJ Roshan in the 71, it's always fun seeing a 71 in Victory Lane. Came down to the final night. And this is for you modified fans, Craig Thatcher's son-in-law. Okay. First career track championship for him. So congratulations to him. And I said it came down to the final night, and there was a little bit of an altercation there with, I think, Caden Blazer, and not exactly sure what happened. But when it all worked out at the end, he came out on top, got his first ever track championship. So I know that was a big special one to him. Hopefully he can be in contention again in 2023. Now let's head over to the Eagle Valley Speedway, Jerry's World in Gem Falls. Michael Truscott, one win, running one of them attack modifieds there. Jerry's got, he gets those built. And another second generation driver. I feel old, man, because I used to race against his dad. And I remember when Michael was at the track and just a kid kind of scraping mud on dad's car. And now he's drinking beer and chasing women and winning races, right? And it's a fun time watching him. Extremely talented guy. A Yooper, right? Kind of a upper peninsula of Michigan guy, but now lives in Wisconsin in Chippewa Falls. I mean, hell, beer's made there. So you got to drink beer. You're going to live in Chippewa Falls. Gondik Law Speedway, Jody Belfi. This guy right here, one of the most beautiful. I hate red race cars. Okay, I just do. Everybody that knows me, I hate red race cars. His red race car is absolutely sexy. That thing is like, I wouldn't even want to bring it out on the track. And if you brought it out next to me, I'd probably give him a tire mark just out of spite. Don't do that. He'll get mad at you. But Jody Belfi, he had a great year. We'll talk more about him on next week's special episode. But 4 wins on the year in Superior, including a big one. We'll talk about that next week. 10 total on the year. I tell you what, it would be super fun to see this guy add Grand Rapids into the weekly mix. Because if he ran Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he'd be a contender for a natty. Jody Belfi looking for another strong year. Denny Cutsforth, Rice Lake Speedway champion. He said, I said, what are the plans? 2023. He goes, well, I'm going to get back to having fun. Not going to get out there right away. I'm like, why? What happened? Evidently, then he was up on a ladder doing some kind of work, fell off, broke both of his wrists. I'm like, good grief, man. Like, you're too old for that. What are you doing? He's like, no doubt. He goes, that didn't really feel very good. Well, you got a late model, so he's going to kind of run both of them. Probably not a lot of double duty, but he's kind of used to having a pair of cars. So congrats to Denny Cutsforth on the track championship at the Rice Lake Speedway. Now let's head out to South Dakota. One of my favorite places to watch modified racing, the quarter mile, the baddest bull ring in the state, the Casino Speedway in Watertown. The one TPO of Tyler Peterson. Unbelievable season last year. 30 wins on the year. He won 8 of 12 at Casino. And there's some good cats over there, right? I mean, you got Stearns. I mean, you got Trevor Anderson. You got Dale Ames. There's even more than that. Lee Gross. I mean, there's some good race car drivers. They ain't Tyler Peterson good. Tyler Peterson over there is really fun to watch. And he had an outstanding season, winning another track championship in Watertown. Speaking of fun to watch, probably one of the biggest slide job guys in all of modified racing, it's Showtime Kent Arment, track champion with 3 wins over at the Brown County Speedway in Aberdeen. And Superman Mike Stearns, 4 wins, 9 on the year total. He took home the championship at the Miller Central Speedway last year. I'm telling you what, there are some very, very good modified drivers over in that neighborhood. And Dale Ames, a guy that won a pile of races last year, no track championships between these 3 tracks. I'm telling you what, it is a tough place to win when you go west. When you go north, Victory Lane Speedway, national championship contender for many years running, said, I'm gonna kind of dial back. I'm gonna run some specials. I'm not gonna chase points. It kind of wore me out, but he did win the track championship up at the Victory Lane Speedway, the 10W with 4 wins up there. That's Ward Emery. Now, let's stay north of the border and let's go over to Ontario, a little bit east, right? So Emo Speedway, up in Emo, just by Fort Francis, International Falls area, the 85 of Jeff Davis from Devlin. He had 3 wins. So I remember racing against Jamie. Jeff was a little younger, running a Beema. He's transitioned nicely and putting together a nice little career up there. And then John Topazzini. Boy, he had a good year last year. The track champion up at the Thunder City Speedway in Thunder Bay. Their first year back racing up there. The culture up in Thunder Bay is unbelievable. I am so excited that racing is back there. there, and they got a bunch more cars. That they had the biggest car count in Midwest Mods by a long shot, but it sounds like they're gonna have more supers, more mods. Topazini getting a one win at Thunder Bay. He came down to Hibbing, parked it in Victory Lane in Hibbing. That was a special one to him. So the T23 track champion, the first year back in Thunder Bay. Now let's go over to a couple series deals here. Of course, your national champion. And he went absolutely gangbusters at the end of the year. The one TPO, Tyler Peterson, had it in cruise control. It wasn't coming down to the wire last year. He kind of dominated that deal. Plus, he won the A main at the WISSOTA 100. Unbelievable season for Tyler Peterson. Your national rookie of the year, fourth generation in this family of racers, Jack Revord, the 19J from Superior, Wisconsin. High school last year, I think first year of college this year. It's going to be super fun seeing him progress. He was very impressive. I remember he had a really good run. Not exactly sure where he finished. I think in the top 5 at the Silver 1000. Made a couple trips up to Thunder Bay. But Jack Revord, keep an eye on this kid. I think he's going to be a contender in northern Wisconsin, northern Minnesota, that area. It's going to be fun to watch that 19J. State champions. This guy, no track championships in the modified because he's racing every special known to man. But Shane Zabrowski in the 7A in Minnesota, in Wisconsin, Brandon Kopp, South Dakota. Here's his championship, Dale Ames, and Tony Casey, I think. Casey. I'm going to go with Casey. The 12 ride from Winnipeg won the state championship in Canada. I guess you can call it state championship or whatever you want to call it. He's got a brand new 2023 JMR, planning to race a little bit more this year. He said he was pretty excited about last year. And then there was a couple tours. They had the XR Northern Storm Series along with the Challenge Series for the late models. Talked about him earlier. Clayton Wagaman put together an outstanding week. Took home that series championship. They're doing that again. And Johnny Broking won his second straight Advantage RV Mod Tour title. Of course, it looks to be like that could probably be the last ever, because I think that's probably done. They're going to have the Moonshine Mod Tour. We'll talk about that as it comes along. But Johnny Broking winning that championship. So shout out, of course, to Dirt Race Central. We're going to be bringing you, once there's a little bit of racing happening, we're going to have the buyraceshirts.com One to Go Show power rankings coming out, which is going to be my top 10, right? It's going to be opinion based. Some of you like it, some of you won't. Maybe you'll be in that top 10, but the fact is we're going to bring that out. And, if you need hats or shirts or apparel or hoodies or whatever it is, buyraceshirts.com. Check them out. For racers, by racers. Great pricing, great products. Want to thank all the sponsors, and maybe we're going to get a driver or two on this episode each week, and we're going to have recaps, we're going to have the power rankings, we're going to talk about point battles, special events, upcoming events. We got a lot of content. We're going to bring you all the WISSOTA modified racing that we could possibly bring you each and every week. Hopefully enjoy it. Follow us on the One to Go Show Facebook page and One to Go Show YouTube page. Make sure to follow, subscribe, like it if you do. If you have anything you want me to talk about modified related, let me know. We'll bring it up. If it's controversial, if it's fun, if it's whatever it is, we like to have a little fun here and give a shout out to all the drivers that work hard and deserve it each and every week. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.